Welcome to Quiet Mind Studio. Today, I want to share a story about a magical garden and the gardener who believed she had to save it alone. This is Bloom and Bind. The last magical gardener. The rose was dying again. Sage Aldermoor knew before she even reached the gate. Magical plants did not fade slowly like ordinary flowers. They collapsed quickly, quietly, like something holding its breath until it could no longer continue. And the only thing standing between the garden and loss was her. The rose was dying again. I could tell before I reached it, from the gate, in the gray half-light, by the lean of its stem and the way the petals had pulled inward overnight like a fist preparing for something. Magical plants didn't wilt the way ordinary ones did. They collapsed, fast and total, the way a held breath finally gives out, and the only thing that slowed the collapse was me. I pulled on my gloves, the worn leather pair that had been my grandmother's and her grandmother's before that, resized twice and resoled once and still never quite right on my hands, and knelt beside it in the damp morning soil. "I know," I said, which was something I'd started doing in the second year, talking to them. "I know. Hold on." The gift wasn't dramatic. It didn't glow. It didn't produce sparks or require an incantation. I simply pressed my palms flat against the soil at the rose's roots, breathed out slowly, and let something flow from me into the earth, gradual, quiet, entirely without theater. The petals uncurled. The stem straightened by a fraction, then a little more. The deep red of its bloom, the color that only existed in this variety and nowhere else in the catalogued world, came back to the outermost petals first and worked inward like a slow tide returning. I sat back on my heels when it was done and waited for the world to steady. The slight thinning sensation behind my ribs, I'd learned, over 5 years, to treat it as the cost of the morning's work and not a thing to dwell on. The healer rose bloomed fully at 6:30, just as the first proper light came over the garden wall. Then I went to check the others. 47 varieties of magical plant in the waning garden, each with its own schedule of decline, each requiring my attention on a rotation I'd worked out by trial and error across 5 years of solo mornings. The name on the gate, the waning garden, painted by my grandmother in letters I'd repainted twice but never changed, had seemed, when I inherited it at 19, like an honest description. I was beginning to understand it was also a warning. Sage believes she is protecting the garden. But perhaps the garden is also waiting to teach her something. Healing does not always mean giving more. Sometimes healing means allowing others to stand beside you. This is only the beginning of Sage Aldermoor's journey. Continue the complete story in Bloom and Bind, the last magical gardener.